In October 2021, Belgian and Spanish authorities launched coordinated raids that revealed one of the largest cocaine smuggling networks in Europe. What they uncovered went far beyond a typical drug trafficking operation. Investigators found compelling evidence that two of the world's most notorious motorcycle gangs were running rival cocaine empires through the same Belgian ports. This discovery set the stage for a hidden conflict that would reshape the landscape of organized crime in Europe. The central focus of the raid was a single shipping container that arrived at the port of Antwerp. Hidden within scrap metal from South America were 11,497 kilograms of cocaine. The individual arrested for orchestrating the shipment was not a low-level trafficker. He was the president of the Bandidos motorcycle club in Spain, a Belgian national who had leveraged his leadership position to coordinate large-scale drug operations through ports in his home country. At the same time, Belgian authorities were conducting separate investigations into cocaine smuggling activities connected to the Hells Angels motorcycle club. These operations used the same shipping routes, the same entry points, and often identical concealment techniques to transport drugs from South America into Europe. Two powerful criminal networks had been operating in parallel, vying for dominance over Belgium's most critical drug trafficking hub, Antwerp. To understand this rivalry, one must first understand the significance of the port of Antwerp in the European cocaine trade. In 2023, Belgian customs intercepted 116 tons of cocaine at Antwerp, setting a record for the second consecutive year. In 2022, the total was 110 tons. In 2021, it was 91 tons. These figures reflect only the cocaine actually discovered among the 12 million shipping containers processed by the port annually. As Europe's second-largest container terminal, Antwerp handles cargo from approximately 20,000 vessels each year. Most of the cocaine seized in Europe arrives in maritime containers, particularly from Colombia via Ecuador. The sheer scale and volume of port operations make it impossible to inspect more than a small fraction of containers, creating ideal conditions for organized smuggling. According to the European Union's Drug Monitoring Agency, 75% of the 303 tons of cocaine seized by EU nations in 2021 were found in Belgium, the Netherlands, and Spain. Belgian authorities estimate that only about 10% of the cocaine passing through Antwerp is actually intercepted, meaning the vast majority reaches the streets of Europe. As Dutch law enforcement intensified pressure on traffickers, many organizations moved their operations to Belgium. Researchers estimate that the cocaine trade through Antwerp generates approximately 50 billion euros annually in street value. The Bandidos motorcycle club, founded in Texas in 1966, has expanded into a global organization with chapters on every continent except Antarctica. Its European expansion began in 1989 with the establishment of a chapter in Marseille, France, bringing the group into direct conflict with the Hells Angels, who were already deeply entrenched across Europe. The Belgian Federal Police have officially classified the Bandidos as a criminal motorcycle gang. Law enforcement agencies in multiple countries have connected the group to drug trafficking, money laundering, weapons offenses, and acts of violence. The Bandidos operate several chapters throughout Belgium and have historically recruited members from diverse backgrounds. The Belgian branch gained international attention following a series of major arrests. In September 2020, members were arrested in Limburg in connection with a wide-scale drug trafficking ring. That investigation began when nearly 3,000 kilograms of cocaine were seized at the port of Antwerp in late 2019. The most decisive moment came in October 2021. a joint operation by the Belgian Federal Police and Spanish National Police, led to 26 coordinated raids across Belgium, the Netherlands, and Spain. Hundreds of officers were involved in the effort, which was the result of extensive international cooperation. The raids targeted a sophisticated criminal network centered around the shipment of 11,497 kilograms of cocaine that had been chemically treated to resemble scrap metal, making detection nearly impossible without advanced laboratory analysis. This level of concealment strongly suggested links to major South American drug cartels. The president of the Bandidos in Spain, a Belgian citizen, was arrested in Malaga on charges including drug trafficking, money laundering, and membership in a criminal organization. In Belgium, 13 additional suspects were apprehended. Authorities seized 4 luxury vehicles worth over 700,000 euros, jewelry valued at 300,000 euros, nearly 18,000 euros in cash, encrypted phones, and hundreds of documents outlining the group's operations. Meanwhile, investigations into the Hells Angels' use of the same smuggling infrastructure are ongoing, indicating that this battle for control over Europe's cocaine supply chain is far from over. The Hells Angels Motorcycle Club was founded in California in 1948 and has since grown into the largest outlaw motorcycle club in the world, with over 6,000 members and 592 charters across 66 countries. The group established its first Belgian chapter on July 15, 1997, in Ghent, Brugge, known as the Ghent chapter. Today, the organization operates 7 chapters in Belgium, including Ghent, Antwerp, Coast, Charleroi City, Helberg, and South Crewe. Belgian authorities classify the Hells Angels as a criminal organization involved in various illegal activities, according to multiple international law enforcement and intelligence agencies, including the United States Department of Justice and Europol. The Hells Angels are considered an organized crime syndicate. The FBI estimates that the Hells Angels may generate up to $1 billion annually through drug sales. Their involvement in Belgium's cocaine trade has been confirmed in several high-profile cases over the years. In 2011, British national Conrad Toland was sentenced to 10 years in prison for smuggling 155 kilograms of cocaine from Ecuador to Belgium concealed in a tuna shipment. According to court records, Toland supplied the drugs directly to the Hells Angels chapter in Bruges. More recently, in April 2025, Spanish police conducted a major operation that led to the seizure of over 1,000 kilograms of cocaine and the arrest of 20 individuals across Spain, Belgium, and France. Several of those arrested were linked to a Belgian faction of the Hells Angels, involved in coordinating and retrieving drug shipments. The 2025 investigation also revealed the use of highly specialized methods by the organization. These included individuals referred to as Spidermen, who scaled large stacks of shipping containers to access hidden drugs. Using specialized tools, they would open the containers, extract the narcotics, and transfer them to trucks for distribution to safe houses. Spanish authorities identified the leader of the Belgian branch as one of the country's most wanted fugitives. He had been operating from luxury properties along Spain's Costa Blanca and was managing the organization through a trusted liaison within the Belgian Hells Angels. The violent rivalry between the Hells Angels and the Bandidos has a long and deadly history that extends beyond Belgium. The conflict began in Europe in August 1989, when the Bandidos opened their first European chapter in Marseille, France. Violence soon followed. In August 1991, a Hells Angels-affiliated gang called the Filthy Rebels carried out a drive-by shooting in Grenoble, killing the president of the Bandidos Marseille chapter and injuring 2 others. The most violent period of this rivalry was the Great Nordic Biker War, which raged from January 1994 to September 1997 across Scandinavia and Finland. This war resulted in 9 deaths, 74 attempted murders, and the use of explosives, machine guns, hand grenades, and even anti-tank weapons. One of the most shocking incidents occurred on March 10, 1996, when Bandidos members returning from Helsinki were ambushed at the Copenhagen airport. One man, Uffe Larsson, was killed, and 3 others were injured. 6 members of the Hells Angels were convicted and sentenced to a combined 53 years in prison, with 1 receiving a life sentence. In Belgium, this rivalry has also resulted in deadly violence. One of the most serious incidents occurred on May 20, 2011, when Hells Angels member Ali Apex shot and killed 3 individuals in an industrial area of Menin. The victims were Freddie Putt, a member of the Outlaws, Jeff Benin, a hangaround, and Michael Garrikins, a supporter. They had been attending the opening of a tire shop when they were targeted. Apex disposed of their bodies in a canal in Antwerp. He was later convicted of triple homicide and sentenced to 30 years in prison on February 6, 2015. This case highlighted the extreme violence these organizations are willing to use to enforce territorial control and eliminate rivals. Authorities in Belgium continue to document similar incidents of gang-related violence involving both the Hells Angels and Bandidos. One such case occurred in June 2018, when Bandidos members allegedly stormed a lounge and pepper-sprayed a man for wearing a Hells Angels t-shirt. In the past 4 years, Antwerp has witnessed dozens of grenade attacks, arsons, and small bombings, many of which are connected to violent turf wars between criminal groups competing for control of the cocaine trade. One especially tragic incident that shook Belgian society was the death of an 11-year-old girl who was fatally caught in gang crossfire in Antwerp. According to Belgian prosecutors, more than 200 incidents of drug-related violence have been recorded over the past 5 years, including physical assaults and the use of explosives thrown at private homes. The corruption network. Both the Hells Angels and Bandidos motorcycle clubs have been implicated in widespread corruption, including the bribery of law enforcement and port officials. The extent of this corruption was exposed in October 2020, when Belgian authorities arrested more than 20 individuals, including 3 active police officers, in connection to cocaine trafficking. This investigation began after 11.5 tons of cocaine, worth approximately $530 million wholesale, were seized in a container of scrap metal from Guyana at the port of Antwerp. One of the most notable arrests included Willy van Mechelen, the former head of Belgium's counter-narcotics division. Investigators revealed that criminal groups were offering bribes between 75,000 to 125,000 euros per drug shipment. Concerns over law enforcement corruption are not new in Belgium. Back in 2018, Antwerp's Mayor Bart de Wever stated that the sheer volume of cocaine moving through the port made political corruption almost inevitable. The corruption now includes customs officials and port workers, with organized crime groups specifically targeting people with access to shipping data, container locations, and security operations. Authorities have confirmed that the Hells Angels and Bandidos both operate sophisticated networks for recruiting and managing these insiders. The port under attack criminal organizations have grown increasingly aggressive in their efforts to reclaim seized drugs. In November 2023, 3 armed men stormed a customs facility at the port of Antwerp. They forced workers at knife point to open a confiscated container and stole a large quantity of cocaine hidden inside animal skins. Christian van der Weren, Director General of Belgium's Customs Agency, commented that large drug seizures are now frequently followed by violent retaliation. Attacking the police, attacking customs, this is not something you expect to see in Europe, he said, expressing concern that customs staff could be seriously harmed or killed if the situation escalated. In December 2023, a customs warehouse was set on fire in what officials believe was an arson attack intended to punish authorities for recent cocaine seizures. The situation grew so serious that Belgium's customs facilities were overwhelmed with confiscated drugs because the government lacked the resources to destroy them quickly. In response, Belgian authorities deployed military personnel to guard customs warehouses and introduced new protocols for handling and destroying seized drugs. The government also expanded its drug disposal capacity to prevent further theft and retaliation. The international response. The scale of cocaine trafficking through Belgian ports has led to unprecedented international cooperation. Belgium and the Netherlands have signed customs agreements with Ecuador, Colombia, and Panama, allowing European officials to inspect cargo directly in South American ports before it is shipped to Europe. Europol has also formed dedicated task forces to dismantle outlaw motorcycle gangs, bringing together specialists in organized crime, narcotics, and biker gang operations. According to the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, seizures of cocaine bound for Antwerp have doubled in Latin America, a sign that international collaboration is producing results. Belgium and the Netherlands have further strengthened their ties with Latin American countries by assigning customs attachés to key locations like Brazil and Panama. These officials work closely with local law enforcement to flag suspicious shipments before they leave for Europe. The current situation's recent data shows a mix of progress and continuing challenges. In 2024, Belgian officials reported a significant decrease in cocaine seized at Antwerp. 44 tons, down from 121 tons in 2023 and 110 tons in 2023-2022. However, the number of individual seizures increased from 124 to 136, indicating that traffickers are now breaking larger shipments into smaller packages to reduce risk and avoid detection. The Hells Angels and Bandidos remain active in Belgium and continue their long-standing rivalry. Intelligence reports suggest that both groups are evolving in response to law enforcement pressure. New smuggling strategies include chemical alterations to disguise cocaine and more advanced methods of bribery and infiltration. This competition is not limited to Belgium. Both organizations are expanding their operations into other key European ports such as Rotterdam, Hamburg, and Valencia, which signals that the threat is spreading rather than diminishing. The technological arms race. Modern criminal networks have begun leveraging high-tech solutions to stay ahead of law enforcement. The Hells Angels and Bandidos have invested in advanced counter-surveillance systems and encrypted communications to protect their operations. One major breakthrough came when European authorities cracked the Sky ECC encrypted messaging network, which revealed the inner workings of numerous organized crime groups and led to hundreds of arrests. Across Europe, the internal operations of both the Hells Angels and Bandidos have been exposed. Encrypted messages revealed specific details about drug shipments, money laundering, and planned acts of violence. In response, Belgian authorities have enhanced their technological capabilities. They now use artificial intelligence to track shipping patterns, deploy underwater drones to locate drugs hidden in ship hulls, and apply advanced chemical analysis to detect disguised cocaine. Both gangs have adapted to the loss of Sky's ECC, by switching to new encrypted communication tools. They frequently change their methods, use multiple services simultaneously, and employ specialists to detect surveillance. Financial networks. The Hells Angels and Bandidos run money laundering operations as complex as those of major financial institutions. According to FBI estimates, the Hells Angels generate up to $1 billion annually from drug trafficking. These profits fund their global expansion and operational security. They invest in real estate, luxury goods, and legitimate businesses. Financial trails often involve shell companies and cryptocurrencies. During raids in October 2021, targeting the Bandidos, authorities seized luxury vehicles worth over 700,000 euros, jewelry valued at 300,000 euros, and large amounts of cash. Cryptocurrency wallets containing significant digital assets were also confiscated, reflecting the gang's growing reliance on digital finance. Global reach. The challenge of combating these organizations is heightened by their international footprint. The Hells Angels operate in over 40 countries with 6,000+ members and nearly 600 chapters. The Bandidos have a presence on every continent except Antarctica. This allows them to exploit weak legal systems, avoid extradition, and move money across borders discreetly. Their alliances with traditional crime syndicates expand access to smuggling routes, corrupt networks, and logistics support, making dismantling their operations more complex. Investigative breakthroughs. Raids in 2021 and 2025 yielded vast intelligence on their structure, finances, and operations. Encrypted data seized from their networks has allowed law enforcement to map their hierarchy and tactics. Informants have also provided key insights into internal decisions and the rivalry's effect on their criminal strategies. However, both gangs have responded by revising operational security and communication protocols to counter these vulnerabilities. Future challenges. Authorities believe the Hells Angels Bandidos conflict will continue to evolve, especially as both groups shift to new smuggling routes in Eastern Europe, Africa, and Asia to evade enforcement. Intelligence reports raise concerns about their increasing access to military-grade weapons and recruitment of tech-savvy younger members. Ongoing conflict. This conflict is ongoing, despite tactical victories like the seizure of 11,497 kilograms of cocaine in 2021 and the 2025 crackdown on Hells Angels-linked networks. Both groups continue competing fiercely for dominance of Europe's cocaine trade. Every intercepted shipment, each corrupt official, and every violent episode marks another battle in a transnational criminal war that challenges European law enforcement like never before. These groups adapt faster than authorities can respond and possess financial and technical resources comparable to those of governments. This ongoing struggle is now a model for understanding the evolution of organized crime and how it threatens democratic institutions. For both gangs, control of the European cocaine market is worth billions of euros, making their competition relentless, innovative, and increasingly violent. From Antwerp's ports to encrypted networks across the world, this conflict continues to grow and evolve. It represents one of the most dangerous threats to public security and institutional integrity in the modern era.